Hello everyone, my name is Yuri Gubanov. I'm the mayor of Belkasoft, digital forensic software vendor. Despite all the bad stuff happening in the world now, we would like to remind you that today is one of the most joyful days throughout the year, 1st of April, All Fool's Day. This is why our today's webinar called Belkasoft Safari webinar is very unusual. Though typically we speak strictly on the topic of digital forensics and incident response, today I will be also talking about various amazing animals. Not only about animals, however. This is also a webinar about various digital forensics issues and methods, but illustrated with entertaining facts, photos, and videos about some of the most thrilling animals on Earth. Let us start with who am I and what is Belkasoft for those of you who have no idea. The chapter title slide has some penguins behind because despite the name Safari, I will be speaking not only about African animals. Particularly, this photo was taken in South Georgia. This is another photo taken in South Georgia 8 years ago, and you can see two fake penguins, one of which is exactly myself. There are some real king penguins behind, though. A bit more formal, I'm a mathematician and computer scientist by my master's. Doing digital forensics since year 2007, I started Belkasoft and still excited about what we are doing. There are some of my job-related interests on this slide, but besides, I am also a traveler, or used to be a traveler in the past world. A month ago, I left good old world for a 22-day expedition to Antarctica, which we will be speaking about today, and returned to a completely different one. It was pretty tough journey from Argentina back home, which took more than 60 hours and included sleeping in airports, buying new tickets instead of cancelled without refund, insane routes, and so on. Typically, this journey takes maybe 30 hours. Anyway, now I'm sitting in my cozy house and can process photos and do webinars like that. By the way, all pictures and videos in this presentation are mine, with exception of one. The company which product we will be using today is called Belkasoft, and it does digital forensics and incident response only, nothing else. We are very focused just on this market. Started more than a dozen years ago, it currently has 3 offices in the United States and Europe, and customers in 130 countries plus on all continents with the exception of Antarctica. I actually tried to convince penguins to buy, but they complained they don't have enough budget. Most of our customers are government organizations such as police and other law enforcement. However, there is also a good share of corporate users and private experts. On this slide, you can recognize some big guys' logos. Belkasoft is used by the FBI, US Secret Service, US Army, Police of Sweden, Germany, UK, and so on. On the corporate side, there are all the big 4, Apple, Sony, and Disney. Our products gains popularity rapidly, and we are getting customers from countries like Iceland, Vatican, Zambia, and Rwanda. Why Belkasoft and what is Belka? Belka means squirrel, and you can see one of them on the picture. This particular animal was shot in Costa Rica in an amazing park called Corcovado. So the company name can be interpreted as a squirrel soft, and that's why on our logo we have a squirrel. In small talks, I like to say that our product can crack digital evidence like a squirrel cracks nuts. One of the main ideas behind our product is to make it as easy to operate as possible. That's why we have the slogan "Forensics Made Easier" in our logo. We have just one commercial product called Belkasoft Evidence Center, or BEC, and implementing our slogan, it covers all most demanded types of digital forensics, including both mobile and computer investigations, and it automates a lot of routines such as carving and deleted files recovery, search for artifacts in more than 1,000 formats for multiple computer and mobile operating systems. And it even helps with corporate investigations. I will be showing this product throughout my webinar today. This was a very brief intro of the company, the product, and myself, and now let's dive into some more exciting things. Step number 1, getting to the amazing wildlife. You know that there is not much wildlife in places where we live. Dogs, cats, and flies. That's it. We are not speaking of zoos, of course. There is absolutely no excitement in zoos. If you'd like to make it to something special, you will have to spend some time and money to get there. Some places are very inaccessible and require days of travels without any regular means of transportation. One of the places which I will be speaking about is called Mahale Mountain National Park in Tanzania, one of a few places in the world where you can experience truly wild chimpanzee. First of all, you have to enter Tanzania, a Central African country. You probably land in Dar es Salaam airport first. Then, on a smaller local airplane, you will fly to Kigoma, a town on the magnificent Tanganyika Lake, which is, by the way, a nature wonder by itself, being the longest freshwater lake in the world. From Kigoma, you'll take a four-wheel drive jeep and endure a bumpy and dusty road for entire 9 next hours. At some point, you will have to cross a river on a small ferry, waiting for it among locals, which curiously staring at you. Finally, you get stuck in a place where the road ends. Change your jeep to a motorboat and experience bumpy ride for 1 more hour. You will spend the entire day for this travel, and I promise your butt will hurt. However, what you will see next day will totally pay back. Sometimes you have a choice of doing a jeep trip, swallowing dust for 8 hours, or fly by a plane for 1 hour. If you take the flight, be prepared for a tiny aircraft, sometimes only you and the pilot, a bumpy and scary ride, and no toilet. Like you've seen on this video, there was a very, very tiny aircraft for around 8 seats, I believe. Is the plan to see polar bears and walruses? One of places to go is Spitsbergen, and the problem with it is that it's also called Svalbard, and no one in Norway is going to understand you if you use a first name. So you first land in Oslo, in Norway, go with Norwegian to Longyear Airport, and then change to an ice-strengthened ship, the only mean of transportation capable of going to high Arctic. Is your plan to enjoy penguins and fur seals? It is even harder. First, you go to the southernmost city in the world, Argentinian Ushuaia, or Ushuaia as locals name it. From there, you change to ice-strengthened vessel and go to Falklands if you are UK citizen, or Malvinas if you are Argentinian, but that's the same place again. What will take 2 days at sea? For king penguins, you sail for 3 more days to South Georgia, one of the most remote locations in the world. That's why wildlife is amazing there. Finally, for some types of penguins and birds, you may continue to Antarctic Peninsula, what will take additional 3 days from South Georgia. And this is what I done a month ago. So, are you seasick? Be prepared for rough waters, rolling and pitching, especially between South Georgia and Antarctic Peninsula, and on the way back in the notorious Drake Passage. You can see one of the days at sea from my recent trip. Sounds a bit scary, right? Looks a bit scary, right? Okay, while the first step to meet wildlife is a long and sometimes dangerous travel, what is the first step of getting there in digital forensics? Of course, this is data acquisition. Without the first step, which can also be long and somewhat dangerous, at least for the device, there are no further steps to do, right? So let's dive a bit into this topic. Belkasoft can help you with forensically sound mobile acquisition, making images of computer hard drives and volatile memory. We can help with the remote acquisition, especially important today. We facilitate e-discovery and compliance for corporate customers such as telecom or banks. And of course, we help with data stored in a cloud. I won't speak on all of these types of acquisitions, and I bet you have already guessed what is the next slide just by the picture on this one. Of course, I'll speak on the Apple device acquisition. There are multiple approaches to imaging iOS devices. iTunes backups and media transfer protocol can extract very limited amounts of data, while jailbreaks and exploits will provide you with a full file system copy, which contains the way more data. We support all the methods from this slide, but I would like to speak on the checkmate-based acquisition recently supported by Belkasoft. Based on checkmate exploit built in Belkasoft Evidence Center, you can extract full file system without doing any jailbreaks. A wide variety of models and iOS versions are supported. The process is fully automated. You do not have to perform tricky and unsafe operations with the phone. No traces left behind. So this is a truly forensically sound way to acquire data. You may know that Checkmate was originally developed on Mac OS, but Belkasoft has implemented it on Windows. No need to have Mac OS. Boom! There is some great news regarding Checkmate. Belkasoft is the first to support iOS version 13.4. Now, Belkasoft Evidence Center can acquire devices even with 13.4, and there is no other company in the world providing the same. Let me show you what it looks like. On the screen, you can see iPhone 8 with iOS 13.4 installed, if you pay attention to the software version field. At the background, there is acquisition screen of Belkasoft Evidence Center, where we are going to click the Apple Checkmate button. So once you've done so, you will be prompted to select an iOS version and device model. The device is first being sent to the recovery mode. And then after that, you will have to put it to the DFU mode. Okay. Yeah, now you have to put it into the DFU mode, and instructions of how to do that for the particular model are shown on the screen. And let's do that for this particular iPhone 8. Takes a little time and practice. But once you do that, if you did everything correctly, the acquisition process will start and the full file system of the phone will be sent to Belkasoft Evidence Center as a compressed file. Evidence Center will then analyze the image and extract various forensically important artifacts such as system details, Wi-Fi connections, locations, emails, chat and browser data, different other mobile apps, photos, and so on. There is a lot of confusion around checkmate and checkrain, which is a jailbreak. Some of you may say, well, my tool, we already have a tool which supports checkmate. At least they told us so. But no, your tool does not support checkmate unless it is Belkasoft or Celebrite. These are only two companies having checkmate-based acquisition in digital forensic tool on Windows. As of now, Celebrite does not support iOS 13.4, what makes Belkasoft the only company in the world with such a support. Tools like MSAB, Magnet, Oxygen, and similar pretend to support checkmate, but in fact, they support jailbroken phones with checkrain installed. This is a huge difference between requiring you to install a jailbreak on the phone and then using the tool to copy data and not using any jailbreak at all. More detailed explanation you can find in the article on our site. So let me click on it. As you can see, with other tools or with the manual checkrain, you'll have to do a lot of manual, potentially unsafe actions, which may break the phone. You will install a jailbreak, which will stay forever, at least its files will stay forever on the device. You'll have to use macOS or Linux for that. Once you've done a jailbreak, you will need to use a tool to acquire full file system. By the way, Belkasoft supports full file system extraction after any modern jailbreak, but the whole idea with Checkmate is not to make jailbreak at all. Okay, let's move back to the wildlife again. One of the toughest tasks of an animal in the wild nature is to keep safe. Very hard unless you are a top predator. Let's move to South Georgia, a small archipelago in the Antarctic convergence, which at the same time is the most populated by various seabirds and seals. Hundreds of thousands of king penguins are breeding in South Georgia. These penguins do not build nests, so their chicks they use their feet for their chicks. On the photo, you can see an egg which lays on the penguin's feet. What protects the egg from being cold, from freezing? Also, the penguin's belly has a sac used to warm up an egg and then a small chick by wrapping it. On another photo, you can see a grown chick still looking for warmth inside the parent's place. One more example of that. Look how beautiful a grown king penguin is with all these yellowish patches. Here is how an adult king penguin protects its child from a skua, a predator bird. This is the only low-quality photo in the presentation because it is not mine. I didn't find anything like that among my own pics. So let's go back to forensics again. Now, what helps us to keep safe with our devices? Right, our passwords. What is a feature of iPhones to store password-related info? It is called keychain, and Belkasoft can help you to extract it. It is important to have keychain data since many apps would use values from keychain to decrypt their stored information. Belkasoft has recently supported keychain extraction in our Checkmate-based iPhone acquisition, as well as from already jailbroken devices with any other jailbreak. And one of the first, keychain is extracted automatically from jailbroken device or with Checkmate, as I told on the previous slide. And one of the first apps which we supported, facilitated by automatic keychains extraction, is Signal. You know, this is one of the most secure messengers. On this slide, there is a screenshot of values extracted by Belkasoft from an iPhone by using Checkmate full file system acquisition. All values are put into the passwords node here in the Case Explorer window. For things like signal decryption, passwords are located automatically. Now, back to the wildlife. Once you managed to grow up and stopped begging food from parents, you have to keep fed yourself. Not an easy task either. This time we move to Africa again. On this photo, you can see two cheetahs going for a hunt in Serengeti National Park in Tanzania. Cheetahs don't live together like lions, so there is only one explanation of why they are two on this picture, because they are brothers. Well, there is a prey behind cheetahs. Why don't they run and catch one? The problem here is that the wind is unfortunate to brothers, and antelopes are already aware of the danger. Though cheetahs are the fastest animals on the planet, they can't keep high speed for long, and if antelopes are warned, the chances are not high for cheetahs, because antelopes are quite fast too, and cheetahs actually cannot maintain big speed for a long time. So cheetahs continue their walk hidden by savanna grass. What a magnificent creature! At some point they even looked at me. And here, what a nice view. Then suddenly it happens. You won't believe how quick it is. It is hardly possible to make a video, so I don't have one, a video of a hunt, since it happens almost within a blink of an eye. I saw two cheetahs hunt in my safaris. This is not the only one. One was literally 2 or 3 seconds. This particular one was a bit longer since cheetahs change target right in the middle of the hunt. But anyway, it is fantastic quick. Less than 10 seconds passed, everything ended, and one of the brothers was holding an antelope. Brothers shown amazing teamwork not only in the process of hunt, they also coordinated to bring the prey together from the place of kill a bit farther away. Here you can see them taking poor antelope to the grass. Cheetahs are um, quick to kill, but they also seem quick to eat. On this video you can see that they are in hurry, and there is a reason for that. Being the fastest animals on the planet, they are the weakest cats. Any big predator can take their food away if they meet. Lions, leopards, and sometimes even hyenas can do that. No surprise, they are in rush. So one of the brothers anxiously looks around. He may smell another predator. Sometimes they take a short break to rest. Remember, they run at 120 kilometers per hour, about, I believe, 90 miles per hour, and they are very tired after the hunt. Finally, one of the brothers is full and resting a dozen meters away from the other, who is still eating. A few minutes later, he joins the meal again. They both need to make most of the kill since they are not always successful with the hunt, and their prey can easily be taken away by bigger boys. Being a great runner, a cheetah is absolutely not a fighter. So the brothers successfully ended their breakfast, but if you think that the story ends here, you don't know what savanna is. Cats are squeamish to eat everything. They only eat easily accessible meat, the most tasty one. There is a lot of food left after. So now scavengers come to try to finish the rest. Scavengers were patiently waiting until cheetahs leave the corpse. And as you can see now, scavengers are in rush too. The video is not accelerated up. The speed is 1:1, it's real speed. They really eat the antelope remnants that fast. Why the scavengers are in hurry? Here is the answer. Hyena. Hyena comes really quick. Scavengers did not have much time to eat, and now you know why they were eating so quickly. So now hyena tries to find a safer place to eat the remnants. Okay, hyena makes a few circles around to make sure that scavengers are moved away and they do not spoil hyena's meal. Being pushed away from the food, scavengers are waiting again, now for hyena to finish. Looking at the landscape, I was immensely impressed with the speed of how quickly everything was changing. A few minutes passed, another actor came, now African wild pig. Here it is. There is another name for this guy, Pumba, what means stupid in Swahili. There were actually three of them, three of Pumbas, and one much bigger than others. It was amazing to me, but the pig, which I thought is actual prey for animals like hyenas, was able to drive hyena away. Like this, very dynamic picture. Another unexpected fact is that Pumbas eat meat, not as kind as we used to think after Lion King cartoon, isn't it? Among many other things which shocked me that morning was this one. After Pumbas left, Hyena continued to finish the antelope. It even started eating horns. I didn't believe that. I was pretty sure it will leave them at some point. But see the next picture. Here you can see only one horn left. What a diabolical meat grinder. To say I was impressed is to say nothing. Wow, what a morning it was. So let's switch to forensics again. As I stressed in previous slides, many things happen incredibly quickly with the wildlife. In particular, cheetahs' heart rate may reach incredible 250 beats per minute while they are hunting. So, why not take a cheetah's fitness tracker and see its measured values? With Belkasoft, it's easy. Belkasoft Evidence Center supports a number of fitness trackers like Fitbit or MiFit. It's not possible to get data from these devices directly, but you can extract it from a synchronized mobile phone. You'll need a file system access since neither standard backup contains such data. I mean neither AGB nor iOS. In particular, if you image an iPhone with already mentioned checkmate function, there will be Fitbit data inside if the tracker app is installed. Once you analyze the image, heart rate, distance traveled, and other details depending on the model will be shown in Belkasoft Evidence Center interface. Let me switch to Belkasoft Evidence Center to show how it works with fitness trackers. So first, let me add a folder with a Cheetah smartphone. Let's pretend it has one. Clicking Next, under Other Mobile Applications, you'll see Fitbit, MiFit, and some other supported apps. Click Finish, and the product will start analyzing. Let's switch to the Case Explorer to see what is found. You can also track the progress here in the Task Manager. In a few seconds or in a few minutes, depending on the size of the image or device, you'll see extracted and analyzed data. You can see that it was actually younger of two cheetah's brothers, and from his device, geolocation data, heart rate, sleep data, and tracks were extracted. Let me go to the overview and go to the heart rate. So let me sort by the measure time and let me see what happened. So first of all, one of the brothers had a normal heart rate of 175 beats per minute. Then he started to run 200. Then in just a second, it increased to maximum 251 beats per minute. And then after the catch, he calmed down back to normal, 200, well, more or less normal. So that's how heart rate is extracted from a device. You can also see things like geolocation, like sleep times, and so on and so forth. Okay, back to the wildlife. Let us look to the local transfers. For that, let's move to Africa again. We are in Tsava East National Park, which is located in Kenya. You can spot a wide variety of incredible creatures there, such as a giraffe. Giraffes are great by themselves, but do you see something special on their photo? Let me show you a bigger picture. Can you see something now? Yes, exactly. I mean the bird. Birds often accompany different bigger animals. In some cases, their hosts do not object. In particular, birds help giraffes to get rid of annoying insects. There are other examples of birds traveling with other animals such as elephants and rhinos. And here is a close-up of a shared taxi ride for 4 passengers. Nice. So back to forensics again. How do you analyze a taxi ride having an app installed on a mobile device? With Belkasoft, you can automatically analyze Uber, Get Taxi, and a few more taxi applications. There is also iPhone's CarPlay app, supported by the way, a little bit different, but also about cars. As with the fitness trackers, you will need a full extraction from an Android or an iPhone, whether it is a rooted Android, jailbroken iPhone, or a checkmate-based acquisition. So let me switch to Belkasoft to show what it looks like. So first of all, let me add a Birdie's smartphone and make sure that under mobile applications we have selected Uber. Click on finish and wait until the smartphone is analyzed, and you can see that Uber profile is found and some geolocation data is extracted. Out of sudden, you can see that the only Birdie's travels were located in Czech Republic, where Belkasoft has an office. Strange coincidence, isn't it? By the way, since this data is stored in a SQLite database, the SQLite tab is shown at the bottom. And for each selected artifact, you can see the raw data as it was stored in SQLite. And moreover, you can go and see raw bytes stored on a disk behind every SQLite record. So you can interpret raw bytes yourself manually to check the correctness of Belkasoft extraction if you need to do so. Okay, we have covered the local transfers, but what about longer travels? Let's see. Polar animals are great travelers, covering huge distances while searching for food or to give birth. For example, polar bears travel up to 1,100 miles a year. They are also great swimmers, capable of swimming many days in a row and even sleeping in the water. This is a polar bear I encountered in Svalbard a couple of years ago. Albatrosses. Albatrosses are the biggest seabirds in the world. Some of albatross species may have an unbelievable wingspan as huge as 3.5 meters. Can't imagine that. It's like two of your heights. They fly barely moving their wings. But even this way, they can make up to 14,000 of miles in around 50 days. This is an albatross which I saw while sailing from Falklands to South Georgia this March. Penguins, those cute flightless birds, they look funny and clumsy on land. However, you won't believe how rocket fast they are underwater. Here is a short video made on Vernadsky Station on the Antarctic Peninsula. They have a colony of Gentoo penguins next to their research facility. What a great job those scientists have. We were really envy. Next, and even greater travelers are whales. They may cover huge distances in search of food in colder water, or in search of a better place to give birth to calves. What happens in warmer waters? We met this humpback whale in Wilhelmina Bay in Antarctica. He was very friendly. He made a few circles around our zodiacs. One best thing he shown is how whales breathe. If you still think that whales splash out a fountain of water when they breathe, it is not true. They just blow out air and particles of water arise just because water is around their nostrils. By the way, you can see an iceberg behind the whale, and you can also see why the whale is called humpback, because of the hump next to his fin. How huge they are. Now to forensics. How we track the whale movements. Should it have a smartphone? There is a geolocation analysis feature in Belkasoft Evidence Center. There is plenty of data inside a device which may contain a coordinate, including photos, location sharing messages, or map searches. Belkasoft supports those on the slide out of the box. This analysis will help us to answer two major questions. As polar expedition guides told me, a big share of tourists ask where are penguins, being in Arctic, and why there are no polar bears yet, being in Antarctica. Let's examine some devices. Open Belkasoft Evidence Center and add a couple of smartphones. So we have a bear smartphone. Let's add it. And we have a penguin smartphone. Let's add it too. And go to the Case Explorer. 5 pictures already found for the bear. Like this. And 5 pictures also found for penguin. By the way, I don't know how come, but there is me. I don't know how my picture appears on a penguin smartphone. Anyway, now all these pictures are extracted. Let us go to the overview, and we can see 10 geolocation points extracted from pictures. Now what we can do, we can see where penguins live and where bears live. So now I select, by the way, to understand from where this or that picture came from, you can use the origin path. So here you can see that first 5 pictures came from the Bear smartphone. So let us check first 5 pictures, right click, and now we can see them, say it in OpenStreet Maps. Okay, right here, Nansen Island. What is it? What's this? Where is it? Come on. Is it Antarctica? That's something strange. Let's go to penguins. Okay, let's uncheck those and check penguins. So let's see where penguins live. Okay, open them on OpenStreets and see them in Trughamna. What's that? Let's zoom out. Spitsbergen. How come? So looks like those tourists which ask stupid questions maybe not that wrong. Who knows? Step 6. What about animals' social life? To figure out some amazing social habits of some animals, let us move to Mahale National Park in Tanzania, one already mentioned before. Some fantastic encounters wait for you in the park, since it is one of the few places left on Earth where wild chimps can be met. Chimpanzees are incredibly intelligent. They are believed to be the closest to the human, speaking on their brain abilities. They can create tools to accomplish their goals. They can understand words, and you may have heard about a chimp called Coco who knew some 1,000 words and even had a sense of humor. Chimps live in packs of a few dozen animals. It can be less, um, but typically it's 10 to 20, sometimes more, sometimes less. Here you can see one chimp grooms another. There is a youngster which is looking for food on the tree. Him again. And I can see wisdom in the eyes of this older chimp. Even the baby looks quite intelligent. This granny looks like she's plotting some kind of a tricky scam. Maybe online? This guy is picking a branch to eat flowers, not taking flowers one by one. Here it is. Back to forensics. We have some very clever apes who have many features similar to humans. What we can do if a crime happens in the forest? By the way, it can. Our guide told us that a few years ago the alpha male who behaved badly was killed by other males in the pack. Let us look through CCTV cameras in the forest and try to detect some faces of some criminals, chimp criminals. Belkasoft Evidence Center has a function to detect faces inside pics in your case, including files that are carved or originally embedded to another file or email. And it works even on frames extracted from videos. I will cover video forensics in a second part of my presentation. Though face detection function is designed for humans, well, mainly, it can even detect some monkey faces, like this one. Isn't he cute? In order to find faces, let us add a data source with some apes photos and go to the Case Explorer. It finds some 10 pictures, and what I do is I right click on a pictures node, and I select detect faces for all of the pictures inside. You can see that there are some other types of analysis for pictures, including, say it, gun detection, text detection, or photo DNA. So once I've done that, and I go to the pictures, I can see that some of my photos were now have this green box around the ape's face. This, or even like that. Or, yeah, like this one. And finally, this is not an ape, but still some funny monkey. Okay, back to the presentation. I actually prepared 13 episodes for you, but realized that it's gonna be too long presentation. So my idea is, let's have a break and do some intermediate conclusions from the presentation. And if you like this presentation and if you want to have a second part of it, I will continue maybe in a week or two with the second part, and I will show you some more amazing animals, more amazing videos. So to do that, to encourage me to do that, to do the second part, please send us your feedback in the email, Twitter, or Facebook, LinkedIn. Like our videos on YouTube, so we know that um, we should spend more time on the continuation. So let's see where we have been today. We've been to Spitsbergen, aka Svalbard, in Arctic. In Antarctic, we've been to South Georgia and Antarctic Peninsula, and on the way we visited Falklands or Malvinas. We've seen a cute squirrel in Costa Rica, and now know that it's called Belka. So Squirrelsoft and Belkasoft is kind of the same. We also visited Kenya and Tanzania, but we did not have enough time to visit Rwanda and Zambia. And believe me, those two countries are mind-blowing about the wildlife. Likewise, other African countries we visited today. With from the forensic side, we discussed acquisition based on Checkmate with the Evidence Center. I shown you how we acquire full file system, including devices running newest iOS 13.4. And I also briefly discussed keychain extraction and signal messenger extraction. From the artifact standpoint, we've done this signal decryption, fitness tracker analysis, taxi app analysis, and geolocation forensics. And we also did a little bit of data analysis with face detection. However, we didn't have time for some more interesting stuff, for example, incident investigations or video forensics. So now, make the elephant happy. Download your free trial today from belkasoft.com/trial. And if you have any questions or comments, please ask in the chat window. And please go to belkasoft.com for any further information about our commercial tool, our free tools, our webinars, news, and so on and so forth. And to remind, I'm the MEO of Belkasoft, Yuri Gubanov, and thank you for your attention today. Happy All Fools Day!